For those of you who don't know me, my name's Steve. I'm Mishie's cousin from Canada. Mish and I have grown up together. Canada! Mish and I have grown up together, and we've grown very close over the years, or as I like to put it, it's been a long time I have been the subject of the world that Mish dictates to. For those of you who were there Friday night, you know what I mean. Mishie is truly a class act. She's super smart, pretty, funny, successful, and most importantly, she's determined to get what she wants. Which leads me to Misha. Misha is a stand-up guy, very easygoing, charming, decent looking, entrepreneurial, great looking, creative, and most importantly, he's determined to allow Mishie to get what she wants. The perfect couple. They really are the perfect couple. Warm, loving, friendly, affectionate, and obviously mad about each other. The amount of people that are here tonight shows just how much we all love them and how happy we are to be here to celebrate this wonderful occasion today. Tonight's short and sweet, we're going to have a great night. So on that note, please charge your glasses. We're going to do the first toast, and join me in a toast to the happy couple. Salute!
Myself and Mimi, we wish a hearty mazel tov and congratulations to the newlyweds, the Mishkas. Many of you may be aware that this is the second time within 12 months that I've had the honour of speaking at a child's wedding. Our son Benjamin married wonderful Fiona in Bali on the 30th of September 2012. So I wish them too a hearty mazel tov for their first anniversary tomorrow. So you would think that writing wedding speeches should be getting easier for me. Well, it isn't. Please forgive me if you detect a few words that you might have heard just a year ago. On a sad note, for just a moment, I must reflect on the absence of any of Mishie's grandparents, because the last one passed away many years ago. But at least Mishie knew 3 of them for most of her childhood years. However, I'm very happy to say that Mimi's only sister Edith is here today with her husband Jack. On my side of the family, we miss my late sister Belle, but I'm delighted that Belle and Brian's children, all 3 of them, Ruth, Alan and Paul, their spouses and lots of their children, have all travelled from Canada to be here today. Incidentally, Mimi and I look forward to Adrian's wedding in Toronto next August, when I will not be making a speech. So there. I'm available for more family weddings from 2015 onwards, but maximum 1 a year, please. Still on my side of the family, it is a great pleasure to have my first cousin Roger and his lovely partner Trish here today. Unfortunately, Roger's brother Paul is too ill to make the journey here, but we wish him well. I want to say a special thank you to Paul and his wife Liz, and to Roger and Trish, for keeping an eye on Mishie in London, and feeding her on many occasions, including Yom Tovim, with the Jewish religious holidays. It is also nice to see how Mishie has become friends with her second cousins, Paul's children, Sarah and Jonty, and their spouses. Lastly, but definitely not least in terms of my family, I'm delighted that my niece Madeline is here today. I say niece because I have always been proud to regard her as such, although strictly speaking, she is older. No letter. Only a second cousin, or twice removed, or whatever. And I've been happy to note that Mishie and Madeline have become friends in London. They say that blood is thicker than water, but it is not always true. 2 of our very long-term friends have travelled from Australia to be here today. Thank you to Tutti and Paul, wherever you are. Thank you, Tutti and Paul. Hey, I was getting so wrapped up about my family that I almost forgot that just an hour or 2 ago, it doubled in size. Mimi and I are overjoyed that Mishie has found her knight in shining armour. We are certain that Mishie will not only be a wonderful husband, but a wonderful son-in-law as well. Did I say Mishie? You see, it's the Mishkas, it gets to you. Misha will not only be a wonderful husband, but a wonderful son-in-law as well. With Misha comes, of course, the Machatonia. That's the parents-in-law, Tanya and Naum, and his sister Ina and all of their family, including two babushkas, the grandparents, who could not make the journey here today. Mimi and I and Mishie had the pleasure of meeting them all when we spent a week in Minneapolis 2 months ago. And I'd like to take the opportunity of thanking them all for their splendid hospitality. Also, Misha's adopted local parents, Alan and Jane, who by coincidence live in my birthplace village of Beaconsfield in England. Thank you for coming today. To all the family, old and new, and to all the friends of Mishie and Misha who have come from far and wide to this terrible place on the Amalfi Coast of Italy, we want to say an enormous thank you, in the sure knowledge that you would have made the same effort to come to the wedding, even if it was at the North Pole. And so to our darling daughter. Let's start with the name. Michelle, ma belle. Sont des mots qui vont très bien ensemble, but I won't try and sing it. Yes, the Beatles' music must have been ringing in my ear at her birth, combined with her sister's name, my sister's name, Belle, and the fact that Mishie really was a beautiful baby. Who could have known that she would have grown more beautiful by the day? When we first met Misha, which was via Skype, by the way, he told us that he had never met anyone like Mishie. From the age of 3 right through to 17, Mishie attended Masada College, first at Linfield, then at St Ives in Sydney. She quickly learnt how to be a Jap, a Jewish American princess. And acquired a bit of a South African accent to fit in with the majority of students. She also learnt how to be embarrassed. With such embarrassing parents, it was an easy lesson. At about the age of 4, on the occasion of the end of year preschool celebration, Mishie told Mimi not to embarrass her by clapping at the wrong time. But Mimi didn't mind. She felt so happy just watching Mishie dancing with her friends. And Mimi was actually happy when Mishie used to run late in the morning, and at least once a week would miss the school bus. And Mimi had to drive her until they caught up with the bus, sometimes only at the school gates, because it gave them extra time for bonding together. Benjamin and I were critical of Mishie, but I don't think it made Mishie feel guilty. She always had a soft spot for her brother Benjamin since she was a baby. She would not let anyone say anything bad about him, and I hope that's still the same today. At high school, Mishie excelled academically and ended school just a fraction of a point behind her friend who was Dux. She took an interest in languages, especially in French, which she had shunned until then, despite Mimi being fluent in the language and often trying to teach both kids in French. She is now more or less fluent in English, French, Spanish and Hebrew, plus a bit of Italian. She took a double degree at the University of New South Wales in arts and law, while working part-time jobs to earn enough money for her overseas travels, including extended periods in France and Argentina and Israel. The travel bug seems to get ever stronger. She is somewhere in Europe almost every weekend and flits from continent to continent several times a year. By way of welcoming my son-in-law and wishing him and Mishie a long and happy life together, I want to read you a poem from the Book of Proverbs. Now I know that we have at least 2 different religions represented here today, and I know that my son-in-law is, to put it mildly, not religious. So I have chosen the words of that wise man, Solomon, that no religious or atheist person could object to. The poem is called Eshet Chayil, or A Woman of Valor. And I have turned to an organization called Hebrew for Christians for a good translation. Seriously, if I tried to read you the King James version, the King James translation, you wouldn't get it. But this organization, Hebrew for Christians, has a good translation. The poem has traditionally been recited by the husband in praise of his wife every Friday night. Eshet Chayil min Yitzah Barachot Mipnimin Mikrash. A woman of valor, who can find? She is far more precious than jewels. The heart of her husband trusts in her, and he will have no lack of gain. I have a lack of turning pages. She does him good and not harm all the days of her life. She opens her hand to the poor and reaches out her hands to the needy. Strength and dignity are her clothing, and she laughs at the time to come. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. She looks well to the ways of her husband, and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children rise up and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praises her. Many women have done excellently, but you surpass them all. Finally, Misha, you and I have to settle a debt. The dowry I offered you to marry Mishie was 20 camels. You told me she was worth far more than that and suggested 50 camels. After some haggling, we settled at 35 camels. Now is the time for me to deliver. Come and get it. Come and get your camels. Come on, Misha. This is 20 camels. Are you listening? I will give you the balance of 15 camels upon the birth of your first child. Enjoy.
I'm Misha's mom, and it's not very easy to speak after David because his speech was great and written, and I don't have anything in writing. So it's going to be quite spontaneous, but I try to tell you something. First of all, there is just 4 people in this audience who are responsible for this celebration. It's Mimi, David, Naum, and me. Otherwise, it just wouldn't happen. So you kind of hold with me. Misha was our second kid, coming after Ina, who was very perfect, was born in college. We've been in the middle of the college, and our parents been asking not to hurry up, but we did. And Ina was born in the middle of a 4th year. We had another 18 months to go, but we got lucky, and she was very easy. Slept at night. It didn't bother us with anything. So easy enough when we came to, we've been students in Moscow, and when we came to Kiev, 4.5 years later, I got pregnant again, unplanned again, and I was perfectly fine with the idea to have a second child after Ina especially, but now I was concerned that he's not ready at 25. And well, we resolved the problem and Misha's here. But it took me quite a few years to figure out why he was so serious about it. He lost his sleep about it. And I was trying to convince him we do have some money for 18 months for me not to work, and what's such a big of a deal, and Ian is such an easy kid. Well, it took me years to figure out why. Misha was born in 78 in August, and he was nothing like Ina. He was a boy, and we've been looking to have a boy. He was just a normal kid. He also slept in 8, but he was a bundle of joy and bundle of moving. He was all over the place. There was no way safety first. You would figure out how with him. At 3, he was already playing soccer, what was now doing and showing him. At the same age, he told me that he is going to get married to Luda in a few years from his daycare. When he started school at 7 sharp, he hardly was able to sit. And I was lucky to be able to get the right teacher for him, because both of them went to the same school as I did. So I was able to pick and choose his teacher, who was able to tolerate him. She was putting him just next to him, not next to her, and maneuvering his neck in the right direction. In Russia, back to school night was a kind of meeting of 30 parents with one teacher, and that teacher would explain what's wrong about every kid. It was no privacy matter. And now never been to that venues, because he didn't like to listen, and I allow it, and got some ideas from the teachers, and her main idea was usually, well, what can I say about Misha? He's all over, but not in a place where he's supposed to be. But she loves him and tolerates him very well. It was only one teacher for 4 years, I guess, and then when he finished 4 years of that, it was a different teacher, and she called me probably in September saying, would you like to pick your Misha and move him to other school? And I said, why? She's like, because he's unbearable. I don't remember what exactly. And to make the story short, when a few years later we've been moving to America, this particular teacher organized the group of his whole students, and they went to some place outside of the city, and they didn't celebrate. They made a big party out of this. I still have a card from her saying, to Misha, my best friend. So that was becoming close to 91 when we moved. Well, another thing, Misha always been asking for the pet. He'd like every possible living thing, and we never had anything like that, and never had any desire for that. And for his, when he was asking, I would say I would rather have another kid. It would be easier for me. Anyway, he got a bird just before we left the country. We couldn't buy anything else, and we didn't have any desire to do so. So when we left, we left the bird to take care of for somebody else. When we came to Minneapolis, he was about 13 years old. By the way, he was always the shorter in the class. In the summer he would grow up, but in the fall we can see that he is still the shortest one. But didn't have any problem with that. He would pick and choose any girl, and he didn't feel like there's anything wrong with him. He was in the music, he was in dancing, taking the prizes and everything else. And when he came to America without any language, he was quite kind of disturbed, to say the least. It took him about 6 or 8 months to start speaking language and stop forgetting Russian, and he didn't want any more of Russian at all, or any of this. But he became very popular again in school because of soccer and everything else. And from then, it was his dad who took care of this teenager. Because I was at work and I was in school for 4 years. And at that point, he was pretty much brought up by his dad. And what Misha today is what is labor of love, both of us. What is endurance of his dad, what is the guidance of him. There is not a day he doesn't call home and doesn't talk to me or now. What Misha is today is no doing more than me, but there is some inclusion of me left, and I'm very happy about it. He is genius. He is fun. He is hilarious. He absolutely lovely. He is smart, street smart for his own saying. He is very charismatic. And for the last few years, he changed a lot in a way to be a growing man. He was gone from home from the 2006, doing his education in Liverpool and then working in London. But it wasn't a day that he didn't call, and I never felt like he's far away from us. The biggest, he always coming with some present or some idea of a present, with some kind of luxury piece that we can live without, or some kind of sending a massage for me, or flowers with a lovely note.